Hello! We are at the start of February, and I already just finished my first book that I started right at the end of January. It was so good. So I thought I would take the time to show how I go about filling out my reading journal. I know I've shown this setup in my planner video, but we're gonna show it again. In the front, I've got seasonal TBRs for any books that feel like either I know they're coming out in that season or they fit that season well. So I don't have spring and summer filled out because I get my notebooks from Archer and Olive, and it works out that I usually need a new tarot one along with these seasonal drops, which is really fun. But they come out with seasonal marker sets, and I have fall and winter so far, and I want to get their spring and summer and use that. So that's what I'm waiting on for that, but I've got the fall one going a little bit. And then I've got TBRs broken down by month. Usually I start filling this out at the end of the last month. So, I actually did a really good job on January. Slay. Then I've got February going. Good to remember because I wasn't sure what I wanted to read next because I'm so excited for the next Emily Wilde book. But it doesn't come out, today's the 4th, it doesn't come out till the 11th. And then I pre-ordered it from a local-ish shop, but it's not super close to where I am, so I have it getting shipped. So I'm not expecting it to come on the 11th, you know what I mean? So I've got other things to pick from. Love that. So there's that. This is my did not finish page. Happy that I included that. My book tracker. And then here's the layout for the singular pages. So we're going to do the one for the book I finished is Servant of Earth by Sarah Hawley. I love this so much. Spoiler alert, 5 stars for me. What am I thinking? It's fairies, but I feel like done. I feel like I've been saying this a lot lately of like a certain thing, but done differently. But I feel like people, I don't know, they're getting real creative with the books I've been reading lately. And this one was no different. I thought it was so good. It's the beginning of a series. I am so hooked. The next one comes out September. And I personally cannot wait. I thought it was really so good. So, I have these, I should show. I printed off this, just a sticker page of these stars. So that's what I've been using. I'm gonna need more. But yeah, I just found that to be easiest, and then I just take this yellow mild liner. What shade are you? Do they have shades? Oh yeah, it's in gold. This is one of my favorites. I don't know. I just like this yellow color. I just color in whatever the rating is I gave it. Nice. Which I do on, I've switched over to Storygraph, and I've been loving it. I don't know, I think something about it feels less overwhelming than Goodreads. Like just, I don't know, something about it feels a little bit more like low-key. Okay, now I pick a color to go with that of my mild liners. We're gonna use this one that I usually carry with me too. This green. It's olive. I can never remember the things I do. Start date, finish date. Okay, yeah. Start date, finish date, then we do published on, genre, number of pages. All right. Do I write? Yes. Okay, so my start date was, if I'm remembering correctly, from Storygraph. You know what, I already have it up. Amazing. Okay, let's see what I've got going on here. Okay, that's what I thought. We started at January 27th. The only thing, I wouldn't even call it like a dislike because it's so minor. I finished it on last night on the 3rd. But since I marked it as finished, it was at like 10 last night. For some reason it skips it forward to the 4th. So then I have to go in, oh no, I don't want to remove. I just want to edit. I have to go in and then just like manually fix it. Not a big deal. But just interesting. Okay, anyway, when were you published? Just this November. November 19th. And I don't really know why. I don't know. I just like knowing that, like, the date things are published. I think it's interesting to look back and see, because I do, from work, I shouldn't even say, well, no, it is from work. Sort of. I'm on NetGalley, which is a place you can get advanced readers copies, digital ones, through work-ish. I think it just helps that you can put that you're a librarian, but I mostly read adult books, which is not my purview, but I like them. But anyway, so sometimes I read it and like before the published date, so it's cool to go back and see like how many advanced readers copies I read, but then also just how many new books versus older ones. So genre, definitely fantasy, and it had 450 pages. Cool. Okay, so then we just make a little box around this. And then I like to put another little space here for a bit of a description. Let's see what we've got right on here. A lot of times, like, publishers will put one blurb in bold and then go into more detail underneath. Just space-wise, I started out putting more of a description, but I find that just that bolded blurb is enough for my needs. So we've got in the underground Fey realm, only the strongest and most ruthless have power, but a young human woman forced into a life of Servitude is about to change everything. Oh, it's so good. Honestly, like, as I wasn't sure I wanted to read another, like, fairy fantasy, since I know I'm reading the Emily Wilde one. Even though that one is very, it's not, like, it's not super similar to, like, this style of fairy realm, or, like, fairy realm story, I should say. The fairy realm is, like, similar-ish, but anyway. But then I looked at Storygraph and saw it had, like, almost 4.3 star rating, and I'm like, oh, okay. That's a really high rating. We gotta look at that. Okay, so then in this section here, just do a fancy writing. Let's do, I like this color. Oh, I don't know why I put the, oh well. That's okay. Why do I do this? Truthfully, saw someone on Pinterest do that and I thought it was pretty. Especially, like, because I do a little review here. I don't usually have that much to say. You know what? I might leave it there. So sometimes I do, if there's space, go in and put some stickers just in that little corner. Or a stamp. But I don't want to accidentally spoil anything in case anyone's gonna read this. Highly recommend. That's all I have to say. Hello. So I wanted to show you all, as I think I said in my last monthly wrap-up, when I was doing my favorites again, I noticed that I've had quite a few months where it kind of ends up where it's not individual decks, it's specific pairs of decks that kind of bond themselves together, whether it's for the month or just like that's just how it is. I will just use those two together, which is a very interesting development. But it definitely makes sometimes I get some decision paralysis, and that makes it a lot easier. So the thing I wanted to try this month was, instead of picking out a selection of decks for the month, which I typically would do pretty loosely, it's more just like with different months, I feel like there's just different vibes to it, so I would just switch out my decks that are on my bookshelf. So instead of just doing that kind of loosely, I decided to pick out specific deck pairings that I would use together for the month and see how that goes. We're 8 days in, and it's going spectacularly. Which I realize 8 days doesn't sound like a lot for a lot of people, but actually we are exactly 1 week into the month. But typically being like restricted to a certain group of decks, it was very hard for me because I like knowing I can just do whatever I want, which I can. I still can. Interesting to me though, because what I did to sort of work around that was like I picked out 4 pairs that I was like, it's my goal to work with these month, but I still kept out some other deck pairings just in case I just started to get this feeling of like, no, I don't want to do this. Yeah, but I think 4 pairs was like exactly right, because I don't feel restricted at all. Now that's to say, I should clarify, this is just for my morning readings I do every day. I'm using other decks otherwise, although I haven't been really doing readings outside of that, other than Dawn Michelle's Fellowship Practice, which I will show. I also picked out a pair for that. Anyways. I didn't bring any of the decks over here with me, so we're just gonna walk around. You know what? We're gonna start with, let's start with what I used this morning. I got Coastal Curiosities paired with the Victorian Romantic. I don't know that I've ever tried these before, but Victorian Romantic was one that I really had a goal to use it this year because it's one I think is so beautiful. It's quite the investment. And I don't know, I just was never using it. And I don't know, I think it was a thing of like, oh, what do I put with it? But then instantly I was like, oh wait, I bet Coastal Curiosity looks good with it. And it does. So maybe I have tried this in the past. I really don't know. I feel like I haven't. Which is so surprising to me because this is one of my favorite Oracle decks of all time. And I really do try to pair it with most stuff. But don't these look so pretty together? I think they go rather nicely. And I've already used this pair twice this month. It's just got me feeling excited about the Victorian Romantic, which is exciting in itself, because again, it's one that I just like wasn't using, but would love to, because I think it's so beautiful. So pretty. These are so pretty together. I love how the colors all work together. Look at how the yellow comes out in that. And the purple. Purple again. Look at that. They're like they're matching up. I love it. Okay, so that's pair number one. Victorian Romantic. And Coastal Curiosities. And I almost didn't want to show these, film this segment of it to put early in. But I think it'll be interesting to see by the end of the month if there are pairs that I favor, if it just ends up where like they're all favorites from the month, or if I end up just going totally off this. We'll find out. Okay, next we've got the Pink Sugar Oracle, which I knew I wanted to use this month. One, because I just got it in to review last month. This, I don't know how long it's going to be on Kickstarter for. I'm going to put the link regardless, because even if the campaign is ended, you can still follow along with it. Yeah. Anyways, Pink Sugar. I knew I wanted to use this because I got it in last month, loved it so much, but also pink, February, you know what I mean? Pairing it with the Unicorn's Journey. Because part of what I wanted to have, or here was my thinking process when picking out the pairings, is that I have two different vibes that I tend to lean into the most, and that is like I can't quite think of like the words I really want, so I'm using some of these words loosely. But the more like serious kind of, those like fine art decks, or just sometimes like darker decks, that kind of vibe. And then this more like illustrated storybook cartoon-like vibe. And so I was also very intentional where two of my pairings fit more of that kind of like vintagey, more serious toned feeling, and then two of them I went with the more kind of like cartoon, illustrated storybook kind of thing. But another focus of mine for this month was like I just with everything that's been going on in the world, weighing very heavy, I really wanted to make sure I got some good kind of self-care feeling decks. And so I found so many pairs that go so nicely with the Pink Sugar Oracle. But I ended up going with the Unicorn Journey Tarot, ultimately because of the self-worth message in the guidebook. Also, I don't know, unicorns just felt right. I mean, oh gosh, I'm knocking into the charger. Hello, so good. But I just knew, it felt like something I was gonna need this month, and I was correct. think I've also used this twice already. I think they go so nicely together. Yeah, these have been good. Doing exactly what I need them to do. So, Pink Sugar Oracle and the Unicorn's Journey Tarot. Okay, let's get the other, like, serious vibe one. You know what? We'll grab the last two at the same time. I don't know why I keep individually walking over to get a pair. Okay, so my other, like, I don't know, serious is not the right word at all, because I do not mean to give off the impression that you can't use, like, cute decks to do a serious reading. That's not true at all. Not true at all. I think I mean, like, I don't know what I mean. I can't think of another word, that's why I'm using it, but hopefully you know what I mean. But we've got the Embroidered Graveyard Oracle. This is the white edition with the Tarot of Aphrodite, which this one has actually been living in my little timeout bin. Because I don't know, I have not been sure about it. It's been in there since probably last February. And so I think the thing is that perhaps it's one I just want to use in the month of February, and that's okay. Because I think I do have quite a few decks now that really even utilize this same artwork. And so that's why this one ended up in the timeout bin, because I just tend to favor the other ones. Like, I've got both of the tarots created by Kara at, oh my gosh, Forest Moon Maiden, I believe. I know it's Kara. Forest Moon Maiden, I think, is, I can't think of what her Etsy shop is, but the Tarot of Persephone's Garden and Tarot of the Huntress that utilize, maybe not this, well, no, it does use some of the same artwork. And so, and I really, really love those. Those feel a bit more year-round to me. But clearly, I mean, this sat in there for a year and I never could get myself to actually rehome it. So there's something I like about it, and I think I do really like the pink, to be so honest. And, you know, maybe for now, again, it's just one that I like to get out for the month of February. But regardless, discovered this pairing. I think they look so good together. Something about, it's like this, the pink and the white just goes so, so well together. I do have the black edition of this too, the black background. And they definitely do give off a different vibe, which is very interesting. I still tend to use this one more. I don't really know why. But I think these go so nicely together. Really enjoying those. So yeah, Tarot of Aphrodite and Embroidered Graveyard Oracle. Okay, last but not least, my other kind of like self-care, illustrated feeling pairing, question mark, is the Oracle of Daydreams and Moonbeams with the Wisdom of Pooh Tarot. I did an unboxing walkthrough of this that is definitely up by now, and oh my gosh, just like totally took me by surprise. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this one. Love it so, so much. Another one that I found so many pairings for, but again, ultimately went with this one because I just really wanted that kind of, I don't know, comforting inner child feel. But I'm excited about it because the Wisdom of Pooh is not really one I've used yet. But of course, I'm such a Winnie the Pooh lover that I would have liked to. But yeah, I think these go so nicely together. This has probably been my most used pairing so far, because I'm just really excited about both of these decks. And to be so completely honest, the other reason is that I got a Winnie the Pooh sticker book. So I've got very specific stickers to decorate my journal with, and I cannot say that that doesn't sway me. It totally does. Same with like the Unicorn's Journey. I've got the stickers that came with it. It's so fun. It's so fun to use those. Anyways, this is just such a feel-good pairing, I feel. But also, like, I've been just getting like really good messages from it. I really like these together. So yeah, those are my 4 pairs. We're going strong. Very excited about that. And it's so funny because I've already, instead of feeling like it's this agonizing waiting for the next month, which is how I kind of used to feel about it, I can already like feel my brain. It's more so like getting excited about thinking already what I might want to use next month, because in my process of finding the pairs for this month, it was like I was already kind of categorizing of like, okay, this one definitely gonna be a March deck. I don't know. It was fun. But I also wanted to show the decks I'm using for the Dawn Michelle's practice. Where did I put them though? Oh, right here. So it's a whole Enchanted Library theme, which this sort of leans into. I don't know. It's an Enchanted Mirror theme, I believe, this month. Question mark. So these just kind of felt right. But we were also just going, again, a little bit off of vibe. So I'm using, actually, the Sacred Threads Oracle by Dawn Michelle with the Orenda Tarot. I think these go also so nicely together. And I wanted to use some mini decks because some of the readings are a bit larger than ones I tend to do for myself. And I do them at this desk. So last month I was using more like full-sized cards, and sometimes it would be hard to kind of get them all on my desk and then be able to take a picture of it to use for journaling and stuff. So I decided this month I wanted to use mini decks, which might be something I continue, because as I've talked, like, look at this. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. As I say many times, as much as I love a mini deck, I struggle to actually really get myself to use them. But this kind of purpose is perfect. So I think it'll be a good chance to really utilize my mini decks as well. So yeah, that was also part of my reasoning for picking these two this month. And I think they go so nice together, right? Love it. I almost was going to use, because the other really nice pairing for the Orenda Tarot is I do have the pocket size of the Coastal Curiosities, and that was the pairing I initially picked out. But then since I'm using the full-sized Coastal Curiosities for my morning readings, I wanted to do something different. And so then I pulled out the Sacred Threads and thought this was a really nice pairing too. So, and actually I think kind of fits the theme a bit better anyway. So yeah. I am 1 week into using those, and it's going swimmingly. Hello. We are currently, today's the 15th, so we're halfway through the month, just a little over. And I'm thinking about my decks. I have successfully stuck with the 4 pairings I picked out up until this point, and here's what I am thinking. I don't know if it's just with this month, since I kind of really went on like a Valentine's-y theme So now Valentine's Day is over, and I kind of thought this would be what happened. But I actually am kind of feeling like with I don't know if you can hear that in the background. Paul's playing Monster Hunter. Anyway, I am feeling like I really had a good amount of time with all of these pairings. Like I really used them all pretty evenly, really enjoyed them. And I'm kind of wondering if perhaps instead of doing a whole month, because I knew, like I was saying before, I knew a whole month, little iffy for me. It's almost just too long of a stretch of time. I wonder if maybe something better might be to do like every 2 weeks, like halfway through the month. Like, pick a new set of 4 pairs at the beginning of the month, halfway through, pick another 2 pairs, repeat. I'm definitely going to try that now because I'm just feeling like I want to switch, but it's interesting to me that the feeling really didn't come up until maybe the last few days when we really hit that midway mark. And also, like, just kind of thinking about, like, I have so many decks, and I love them all. And I think to kind of effectively utilize what I want to utilize, I think that might work out better. So, I think that's what we're gonna do. Yeah. And I don't know if it'll work that way every month. Who knows if, this could just be a fluke of wanting to switch it up after Valentine's Day, but that's feeling good. It's feeling like a good way to really cycle through a larger number of my decks. So, alright, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Why not? You know what? Nothing matters. It's all my own rules. So I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna switch them out, and I'll try and remember to show. At some point I'll show. Hello. I wanted to give an update. I don't know. I think I talked about this. My betta fish that I got as a white elephant gift, which is crazy to do. First of all, let's start there. I'm pretty sure I talked about this. Anyway, in case I didn't, I got a betta fish in like one of those white elephant gift exchange. Crazy behavior. Crazy behavior. Don't give live animals as gifts ever. Like that's, anyway. Besides the point. Of course I love him though. And since he is mine, I want to give him the best little betta fish life ever. So I had him in a little like 2.5 gallon tank, because that's what we had, that, and then we had a 5 gallon. But I've always kept betta fish in like smaller things. And then I ended up on betta fish TikTok, realized I had nothing right in there, so he was doing okay, I thought. Like he wasn't sick or anything, but anyway, realized that betta fish should have at least 5 gallons because they really like to swim around. They naturally live in like kind of like rainforest, very still water. So they really like live plants, not too much of a flow from the filter. They're tropical, so they need a heater. And the other tank we had actually did have we had the heater, and both of them had filters. But anyways, so we had a 5 gallon tank. So I spent this whole week slow process of like getting the tank ready, getting it running, making sure everything's right. I got live plants to put in, and oh, he's looking at me right now. He looks so happy. Let me show you the setup. Hi, it's Tommy Bahama. That's his name. Oh, he looks so happy. You can tell, like, see how spread his fins are? When he was in his other tank, he had them like really close together, which is not an indicator that they're super happy, but this is. And see how he comes up to the tank? He's so happy. I'm trying to get him to like come greet to my finger. I think he's doing it. Hi. So this, I'd love to get something that's like real wood, but we had this and I couldn't really find anything. Hi. So stuck with that because I thought it would be fun for him to swim through. We got live plants going on that this one certainly should get bigger. I've never had aquatic plants before, so hoping that goes well. I got some like tablets to put in there so they get the right nutrients. Look at him falling. He's got his mushroom house that was in his other tank in the back because he did like that. And then I got him this little perch because apparently betta fish like hanging out on little perches. So yeah, that's it so far. I got some other stuff, like leaves they like to have in their tank coming today. Look how happy he is. Oh, truly like that TikTok sound where it's like, my Shayla. That's how I feel right now. Like, I'm so sorry you spent a month not in the right condition, sir, but I'm hoping I make up for it now. Oh, he's such a cutie. See him in there? Such a cutie. Alright, so I want to show you the pairings I switched to for the second half of the month, starting with the Memento Mori Oracle with the new Lacrimosa tarot that I have been loving. I truly got this in. It was sometime around Valentine's Day, so like the middle of the month, and not even gonna lie, this a little bit was what made me want to try switching halfway through the month, which so far I'm feeling good about. I'm a little bit feeling like I don't have as much time with these pairings. I don't really know why. It's pretty much equal amount of time, so I don't know why I'm feeling that way, but I also need to remember that February is a shorter month, so that's a factor. I'm going to see how that feels next month. But, oh my gosh, aren't these so good together? I've been seeing so many good pairs on Instagram for this tarot. Oh, it's so pretty, but I've been really liking these, especially since both of these decks don't have a guidebook, so it's kind of nice when I'm in that sort of mood. Oh, I think they read so nicely together. I love them. So that's the first one, Lacrimosa Tarot. I really wanted to I think the thing is too that like my deck moods really can switch around quite frequently. So this also gave me the opportunity to switch into the current mood, which was definitely getting more into like these kinds of decks. So then, okay, my next pairing is Victorian Fairy Tarot. This is the new version. I started out with I have the mass market edition, which if anyone is interested in seeing a comparison between the two, just for fun, I'd be happy to do that because I kind of want to look at it myself. But I started out with that one because I knew this was coming, and so now I'm trying out the new indie edition, Victorian Fairy Tarot with Cottage Witch. I love these two together. These are definitely a tried and true pairing for me. One of my favorite pairings with Cottage Witch, honestly. And what I will say is with the indie edition, I think there's like pros and cons to both. I really like this new version, but there are some things that perhaps with the mass market I like a little bit better, but like regardless, this one being the available version, like I love it. And what I do particularly like about this version, it makes this card bigger than this card. That I really like. I like seeing these images a bit bigger. But I just think they work so well together because we've got a lot of detailed art in the Victorian Fairy Tarot that I really like to hone into. And so having a card that is just sort of one image, has a bit more space, straightforward keyword, really like it. And also it's got that kind of cottage core theme, of course, being the Cottage Witch Oracle, so I find it works really well with this deck because it also feels very, very cottage core-esque. So fun. This set came with this beautiful, beautiful notebook that I'm obsessed with. And what I'm thinking is, since we're getting into the spring, once I can start going outside regularly again, or like go outside to pull cards, I think I'm gonna use that notebook and do, I don't want to use the word study, but especially since the set from Kickstarter came with a mini deck, I think it'd be really fun to kind of bring these fairies outside and use that notebook to have like this little practice for the spring, perhaps the summer. I don't know. I'm excited about that idea. So, yeah. Love this pair. That's Victorian Fairy. And Cottage Witch. I wanted something that felt like it was getting a little bit into that spring energy because I'm feeling that. It's so much lighter outside right now when I get up. Or I should say it's actually is light outside when I get up. That's a nice change. Spring is in the air. We're having our, I live in New England, and we always have what we call the New England false spring, where we get a week, usually around this time, sometime like early March, late February, usually early March, where it starts to warm up a little, and then we'll have this, like, the next week in March, it'll be like right back down to being cold. Then we will get true spring. So I'm trying not to get too excited because we're in our what I think is our false spring right now, so. But it's so nice seeing everything melting. Okay, anyway. Next. I want to do it this way. We have Thistledown with Carnival at the End of the World. I don't know why I can't remember that. This was a pairing. How did I discover this? This, I feel like maybe was part of a deck speed dating. I don't know. I don't really know what made me put these two together. I might have just been playing. Seeing because I wanted to use this tarot. So I think I was just playing to see what I wanted to use with it, and I love this pair. I think they work so well together. I think they look so nice together. Again, since this tarot goes a little bit in its own direction, it's kind of nice having a tarot or an oracle that is it's the keyword. And it's a straightforward one. Look how nice they look together though. Oh, I love this. I love these two together. A lot of these pairs I feel like I'll definitely might revisit sooner rather than later, since, I don't know, the second half of this month felt like it really flew by. It felt like, even though I have the same amount of time with these decks, it's feeling like I did it. But who knows, I've still got a week, so I might not feel that way by the end of the week, and I am excited for what I have planned for March, so anyway, look at that. So pretty. I love these two together. So that is Thistledown with Carnival at the End of the World. Then we got one more. Because again, it's seeming like four's feeling like the perfect number. It's the perfect amount of rotation where I don't feel like I'm using any one thing too much, where I get bored of it, for lack of better terminology. But I really like this one. This gives a totally different vibe than the rest, I feel. And we've got the Tarot Oracle with the Find Your Magic Tarot. I've been wanting to use the Tarot Oracle because I got this in January and truly haven't used it, but was so excited about it. But I think it's just the style of it. I kind of was like, I don't know what to put you with. It's like, it feels like you should match up with everything, but I think it's the pure white sometimes I have trouble with. Come on. If I can get this tarot open. Got it. Then I tried it with this, since this is kind of like a more, I don't know, just a more modern feeling tarot, and I think they totally work. I think it's the flatness of these illustrations, the color tones they choose. I don't know why, for some reason, like pure white as the background translates in my mind to more modern. That's just how that works. But there needed to be kind of a softness, which I think the color palette in this tarot totally brings. I really like these together. So, I think it's so nice. I think the Tarot Oracle is one that, like, any deck you put it with, it always is like, it's a cool reading, but just visually feels, again, personally, just for me, harder to pair. But I think I have found the answer in these kind of more, any sort of more modern decks I have. I don't know, if you have a favorite pairing with Tarot Oracle, let me know, but I do love these two together. And I didn't have a pair I loved for the Find Your Magic. Well, maybe I did, I'm just not remembering. I don't know. But I really like this tarot. I'm glad to have it out. And yeah, they're working real nice together. Love it. So, okay, those are my pairs I've been using for the second half of this month. Okay, so in my wrap up last month, I talked a little bit about how I have completely switched up all of my hair care and not really skincare stuff, but like skincare is more the last few months, hair care was really last month, and I decided to show it. So I figured I would just bring you to the shower instead of carrying all this stuff downstairs. So, I don't know if this is interesting to everyone, but it's working really well, and I'm excited about it. So, shampoo. And again, I am getting all of this information from Abby. Her name is Abby Young. She's on YouTube. I watch her TikToks. I should find her YouTube, though. I'm going to try to remember to find that and link it down below. Anyway, so all this stuff is pretty much her recommendation, and some of it I had before, which was so exciting that I was like, oh my god, I already have something that she recommends. And she is a trichologist, so hair scientist. Yes, and oh my gosh, it works amazingly. So you know what, I should start. Well, my hair, like before washing my hair, right before washing my hair I should say, I, through like the mid to ends, put in this OGX coconut oil. Apparently that's supposed to just kind of protect your hair while you're washing it, because when it's wet, it's at its most vulnerable. So I do that, especially because I am an everyday hair washer, which I've just learned. I always thought that was like really bad, but I just learned that it's actually not. It just kind of depends on your hair and if you're protecting it and stuff. So I make sure to do that because I do notice a difference, and especially since I wash my hair every day, because I just like it. So yeah, so that's where we start, no matter what. And then if you hear, I should not sit on that. I was sitting like on the closed toilet seat and it's creaking. Okay, so shampoo is the Pantene Sheer Volume. So good. Truly so good. Love that. For just regular conditioner, I've been using the L'Oreal Everpure Bond Repair Conditioner. So if I'm not doing some sort of special treatment, just this. If I'm not using that, I'm doing like one of those conditioning masks, I use this one, the Eliza Vecca CER 100 Collagen Ceramide Coating Protein Treatment. Really, really inexpensive. This one, I've only found on Amazon. Let me know if anyone else uses this brand or this and you buy somewhere else, let me know. I've never seen it in person anywhere. So all this stuff, like, I found at CVS, except that's the only thing that, I don't know where else to get that. Then the only other thing I do is I also got this L'Oreal Everpure Bond Repair Concentrate, which is like a pre-shampoo treatment. I do that like once a week. The hair mask once a week about. Yeah, actually that's it. That's it. And then the leave-in conditioner spray that I showed last month is just, that's all I put on my hair when I take it out of my little like microfiber towel. So it's simple, inexpensive products. I love it so much. Like, truly, but I just feel like, I don't know. I wouldn't say I necessarily had like damaged hair before, but I have hair that's kind of prone to getting kind of frizzy and knotted, especially like when it starts to get long, which this is, I cut it recently and I just feel like it's growing very fast, which is good. That means something's going on right. But yeah, I feel like I haven't consistently have had my hair dry just nice until this. So yes, that's the hair situation. Skincare. I feel like maybe I've talked about this before. I don't know. But I've got like a morning and nighttime situation. So I wash my face. I've been using completely Korean skincare and it has worked wonders for me. So I use two different brands, one being this Anua brand. I use the Heartleaf face wash morning and night. Love that. So then the morning I use, ooh, I didn't screw that cap back on. That would have been disastrous. Okay, so the other brand is Beauty of Joseon. I get this off of Amazon as well. And again, there's some other stores that sell this kind of thing. I'm gonna look, but if anyone knows, let me know. But I use this calming green tea serum in the morning. Here's what their little logo looks like, but it's Beauty of Joseon. So I use that, and then both morning and night I use this Red Bean Water Gel Moisturizer. I love this stuff. It doesn't make my skin feel really like oily. I did try, they have this one called the Dynasty Cream, which is a thicker lotion. I found that it made my skin a bit too oily, but that's just my skin type, so if you have dry skin, I think you'd like that one, but anyway. So that's, oh, and then I use their daily sunscreen as the last step. Then at night, the only thing different I really do is I use this Anua rice toner. I don't know. I like it. And then that's it. I think that's it. right? Yeah, I think that's the update. Oh, I do have this face mask from Beauty of Joseon, the red bean pore mask. I do like that. That's fun. Fun to use. But yeah, that's the hair and skin situation I thought I'd share. I know not everyone's probably interested in that, but I've been really liking it. Everything feels like it's going right, you know what I mean? Okay, let's get into favorites of the month and wrap up this month of February. Quick month. To me it always is, because it is actually just short. And not really too much to talk about this month. But let's start with my random favorites. First off being, as you saw in another clip, one of my favorites was definitely building up a new tank for my betta fish, Tommy Bahama. That came about just because I'm now in charge of the library's huge fish tank, and from there it kind of got me into information about proper betta fish care, and I realized while I was not doing like a horrible job, it wasn't the best environment for him. And once I had that knowledge, I was like, well, I can't exist this way. I can't let him exist this way. I have to make it right. And that was such a fun, like, I truly was a hyperfixation for about a week. And I had so much fun just like learning as much as I could about their proper environment, but also just about the fish in general, which was really, really interesting. And then getting to pick out some plants and put it all together, and the joy too of seeing there was an immediate difference in his demeanor from his old tank to this new tank, and he just seems like you could just tell he's so happy. So that's a huge favorite from this month. Other random favorite is, I've talked about before, this Active Glow nail treatment from the brand Manicurist. I finally decided to try out some of their just nail polish colors, so I got this one, Petula, which is like a hot pink. I got a shimmery pink called Satin, and where is it? Haha. A cool toned red called Pomegranate. I got these to try this month, and I love them. Love them, love them. They are quick dry nail polishes, which I actually did not realize when I bought them. But the first one I tried was this red, which when it comes to red, I'm always just prepared for it to be more maintenance than some other colors, because as soon as there's a chip, you're gonna see it. But I have to say, it really lasted so nicely on my nails. It was a few days before I had to do any sort of touch-up, so really awesome. I wasn't sure what to expect because I feel like I haven't really seen much of these, like anyone talking about those, so I didn't know how it was gonna be. I just knew I really liked the Active Glow, but it's like you don't notice any sort of chipping with that. So yeah, very pleasantly, I don't know if surprised is the right word, because I just didn't know what to think, but really love those. Yeah, it's so fun trying out different brands of nail polish and seeing like what works for what and what do I really like. So fun. So definitely really, really like these. And they are called green nail polishes, so I don't know. I think there's something with the ingredients that is supposed to be more natural, question mark. I don't know how that works. I didn't really look into it, but I like them. And last random favorite is the video game I have truly been playing the entire month is Hello Kitty Island Adventure. When did it come out? Yes, okay. So it released on the Switch and on, for like Windows and stuff, January 30th. And so I bought it the day it came out, but I wasn't able to, I think it might have been February 1st or 2nd until I could actually even play it. And I have truly been clocking in hours every day. Actually, yesterday was my first day. I think I didn't open it at all, which I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to get on there and like visit my Hello Kitty friends. It is such a fun game. What would I compare it to? I would say it almost feels a little bit like a mashup of, what is it that I'm thinking? Animal Crossing and like Disney Dreamlight Valley, but Hello Kitty characters. So you get to like decorate. You know what? I would even maybe say more so like Disney Dreamlight Valley purely, but make it Hello Kitty characters. Because there are quests, you're building friendship with the characters, there's kind of like a bit of an open worldness that you can just sort of do whatever you want, but it is also very kind of quest heavy, which I really enjoy. I like there being a clear cut, like, here's what you do next, here's what we're asking you to do. That's what I really enjoy. Sometimes Animal Crossing, as much as I love it, sometimes it's overwhelming to me when there's not like a goal for the day. Like, I want goals to achieve. So yeah, it's so cute. It's so cozy and relaxing, but really fun with there being kind of just clear-cut goals and achievements and things like that. I've been loving it. Clearly, I've truly played it every single day, at least for like an hour. Since it came out, since I started playing it, like February 1st or 2nd. So much fun. Okay, I think that's all I have for my random favorites. I have still really kept up with my planner, my cousins. So yeah, I put a flip through at the end of the video last month. We're gonna do it again because I'm just always so proud of my pages. I love it. I love doing it every day. It's so fun. So just to highlight again. All right, then before we get into favorite decks, the only other thing I have to talk about is books, but I only read one book this month. That's okay. Last month I had 6, which is crazy for me, so it had to balance out somehow. And I've just been playing so much Hello Kitty Island Adventure that it was just the one book that came out of this month, but I have to say, it was a really, really, really good one. So this was an advanced reader copy I read from NetGalley. So unfortunately it doesn't come out until July 29th, but if you are someone who likes historical, magical realism, definitely keep your eye out for this one. It is called The Entirely True Story of the Fantastical Mesmerist Nora Gray. Here's what the cover looks like. And I think I mentioned this last month. I technically finished it the 3rd of February, Servant of Earth. So in case I didn't mention it last month, this one was another advanced copy. It comes out, oh no, sorry. No, this one is out already. I loved this one. Really good fantasy. I think I talked about this one though. So anyway, here's what the cover looks like. So I will read you the little blurb I wrote here. As spiritualism reaches its fevered pitch at the dawn of the 20th century, a Scottish girl crosses the veil to unlock a powerful connection within an infamous asylum in this thrillingly atmospheric, exquisitely evocative exploration of feminine rage and agency. I mean, come on. It's so good. So the main character is Nora Gray, and she you know, starts the book living in Scotland, and it just kind of follows her story and how it gets wrapped up in this connection she is making with a very specific spirit. And like you get a little bit into kind of the culture around spiritualism, how she's like treated because of it. It was so good. A 5-star read for me. I loved it. I loved it. Atmospheric is the perfect word for it. So if you love anything where it gets to like where there's ghosts, Scotland, I love that time period of like 20th century. Love it. Yeah. So good. I totally recommend. It comes out in July. Definitely keep an eye on that. But yeah, I feel like I don't really have anything else to talk about this month. I have some books that I'm reading 2 books at the same time right now that I will get into in the next wrap up they're so good. But yeah, I think that's all I have to talk about. So let's turn the camera around and talk about the decks I used this month and really enjoyed. Okay, let's get into the deck favorites. So, I'm going to start with the decks I used, like favorites from outside of my morning readings. And then for the morning readings, you'll have seen that I did something new this month. And for the first 2 weeks, picked out 4 pairs of decks to use, and then switched them out for a different 4 pairs the end of the month. And I really liked how that worked. I'm doing it again in March. And so for that, it won't be any sort of surprise, but I thought I would just show I ended up using everything pretty much equally. But when I think back on the month, there are definite pairs that just really felt like a highlight that I just, really enjoyed my time with. So anyways, let's start with the decks I used in different practices, and I'm sure I probably showed these, but they're favorites. So anyway, so the decks I used for Dawn Michelle's Fellowship of the Weavers practice is the Sacred Threads Oracle by Dawn Michelle and the Orenda Tarot. This month was a Snow White theme, so it was really themed around the idea of like reflections and a mirror and the poison apple. And I don't know, something about these cards just felt right. I felt like there is like a reflection element in these for some reason. I don't know, we were kind of going off the vibe. But I really enjoyed how these read together. I also just had so much fun using mini decks because in her practice there tends to be a bigger spread, which I do on this desk. And with the mini decks, I was able to fit everything just fine. So I don't know, I haven't picked out my decks for March yet. I don't know if it will be purely mini decks, but I do think I am going to kind of keep that in mind, especially since sometimes my mini decks kind of get like lost in the shuffle. I won't use them very much, so this was a really fun way to put them to use, and they looked so nice together. I was so pleasantly surprised by how well this pair went together, because originally I was actually going to use the Pocket Coastal Curiosities, but I ended up using the full size in my daily pulls, so I didn't want so much repetition. So I was like, oh, let me try the Sacred Threads with it, and I thought it ended up working even better, especially for the theme. But Coastal Curiosities is another great pair for this one. But yeah, I really enjoyed my time with these. I've been really enjoying the practice, and I liked sticking with the same 2 decks for the whole month. That was really fun. So, definitely going to do that again. That is the Orenda Tarot with the Sacred Threads Oracle, the Pocket Edition, specifically. Okay, and then I believe I've talked about this before, but another practice I get into throughout the month is with my friend Andy. We do daily readings together using the Lion's Heart Challenge on Instagram, which gives a prompt for every day. And so we kind of switch back and forth doing readings, and how we've been doing it is using some of our RPG dice, D&D dice, question mark? I don't know. We have our D6s, that's pretty much what we use, and we pick out for the month to go with whatever the theme is, 6 oracles and 6 tarots, and then we roll our dice, and that selects the decks we're going to use for that reading. So much fun. And we generally pull like one from each to get our message. So Andy keeps track of what decks we use throughout the month and does like, it's so fun, does like a little report at the end to be like, okay, this is what you used most, this card really came up a lot for us, all these kinds of things. So I pretty much used everything this month, but 2 decks came out so much more often than anything else. And that was the Golden Keys of Gaia Oracle and the Goddess of Love Tarot, which was perfect for February. But especially, like, this Golden Keys of Gaia, like, really, I would believe I spent, like, 3/4 of the month with this deck. Like, that's how much it came up. But I actually think these definitely came up together, and I did like, actually, how they paired. But it's always funny when that happens. Sometimes we have months where it really is an even spread, and then sometimes it's like there'll be one deck that just wants to come up over and over. And so I didn't necessarily, like, have these together as a pair, again, because it was random, but I did, when they did come up together, I liked them. And there was a big, like, kind of, like, self-love theme to this month, and I do think both of these decks really lean into that so well in 2 different directions, where the Goddess of Love is definitely more kind of, like, passionate kind of energy, where the Golden Keys of Gaia feels a bit softer and watery. But yeah, I really enjoyed both of these decks, and I was glad. I like to put decks in that either they're new-ish and I just haven't really used them, or if they're ones that I'm like, I'm not really sure how this works for me, I like putting those into my rotation. And so both of these kind of fit that category of, like, I think I like them, but I just don't really know where they land for me. And by the end of the month, it was like, oh, okay, no, I like these. These are really good. So, yeah, these 2 were definitely a favorite. That's the Goddess of Love Tarot and the Golden Keys of Gaia Oracle. Again, not necessarily paired together, but they just were the ones that came up the most by far. Alright, now let's get into the pairs I really enjoyed this month. So okay. So from the first 2 weeks, again, while I did use everything evenly, when I think back to that time, there's one pair that just really stood out to me. I really, really, really loved using, and so definitely have to highlight it as a favorite. It is the Oracle of Daydreams and Moonbeams paired with the Wisdom of Pooh. I just love this so much. It was the perfect energy for what I felt like I really needed at the beginning of the month. Not to mention, too, I also had Winnie the Pooh stickers to decorate my journal with, so that, you know, adds an element. But I really enjoyed these together. There was a bit of a gentleness to these 2 without it being, like, too gentle feeling all of the time. It's like this, there was a gentle, like, storybook quality to these readings together. And the Wisdom of Pooh, as far as I know, doesn't have a guidebook. I don't currently have a guide for it. So what I did instead was if I felt like I wanted to read something to go along with the card, is I had the book Tarot for Change, which is a very like psychological approach to the tarot. And I would read that entry, and that paired with this was also just really, really awesome. But yeah, this pair just made me so happy. I really felt like I needed to be in a bit of a more inner child space at the beginning of the month, and this just really fit the bill. I just loved how gentle it felt, while still delivering really awesome messages. So good. Yeah, I loved these as a pair. So, how pretty. That was the Oracle of Daydreams and Moonbeams with the Wisdom of Pooh Tarot. And that was my highlight from the first half of the month. And the second half, I actually have two that really stood out to me. The first one being the Thistledown Oracle paired with the Carnival at the End of the World. What an unexpected pairing this was. I was definitely just having a play, trying to figure out what I wanted to use the second half of the month. And I don't know what I brought this out to try pairing it with, but it was something else. And then I just decided, like, let's see how that looks. Like, it's probably gonna be not good, but might as well try. And oh my gosh, these made such a good pairing. I think visually, which was really exciting. I just never would have expected that. But then also how they worked in a reading, it was so good. I really, really loved pulling this pair out. To the point where it's like, I'm excited about the pairs I have planned for March, but I don't want to put this one away. It's so good. I'm probably going to leave this one out somewhere because I really loved how these read together, and just something about the vibe here is so good. So good. It's almost like, because these cards are a little bit wacky, pretty different, and it almost felt like the Thistledown a little bit brings it, like grounds it a little bit. But I just think visually they are spot on. Really loved these two together. So that was the Thistledown Oracle with the Carnival at the End of the World. Something is very satisfying too about the fact that they both come in like those really nice quality tuck boxes. I don't know why, not that that really matters at all, but something about opening them both up in these fancy tuck boxes was very satisfying. So yes, loved those. And then, alright, we're on to the last thing. Last but not least was the Cottage Witch Oracle with the Victorian Fairy Tarot. So I started out the month with I have the old mass market of this deck, but I knew this one was coming, so I was like, okay, I really want to throw that one in there so that when this comes, I can play with it. But I just really, really love how these pair together. This is a pairing that I have worked with a lot before with the old mass market version, but I was really excited to try it with the new indie version as well. I do love how the cards are made bigger, and we get a lot, like we really can see the artwork. We get a lot more of the artwork, it feels like. But I don't know, just something about these two. I remember when I first made the Cottage Witch, I already had this deck, and it was like that was the first deck I thought to pair it with, because I was just like, they just feel like they were meant to go together. I love how they talk to each other. Truly some of my favorite readings. Of course, biased. I like pairing Cottage Witch with quite a lot. But I do have to say, this really, for me, is my favorite pairing. I just think, like, look at that. Oh, so good. They really speak to each other alongside, I personally think, just looking nice together. Look at the butterflies and the moths. Oh, this moon card, everything. So yeah, I was really excited to just have these out together again. Especially because every time I bring Cottage Witch out, I like to change up the deck a bit. Because there's so many cards and they are seasonal, I personally like to take some cards out, add some cards in, to make it fit the current moment in nature. Ooh, which actually, gonna have to take that out soon. So yes, really, really loved these together. So much fun. These are not going to go away either, just because they really never do. The Victorian Fairy is such a favorite for me, and tends to always stay out alongside Cottage Witch. So that is the Cottage Witch Oracle with the Victorian Fairy Tarot. And that, my friends, is all I have today. So, I hope you're having a great day so far. I'd love to hear about your favorites from the month, anything fun you did. But other than that, yeah, I hope you're having a great day so far, and I'll see you again very soon.